Good morning. How are you? Let's do a coffee chat, except I'm kind of sad because they got my order wrong. Not terribly wrong. So here's the situation. I went through the Dunkin' and they had like the $6 meal deal and I was like, heck yeah, that's what I want anyways. And then I realized that you can only get the sausage on the croissant sandwich and not the bacon. That was a deal breaker for me. So I was like, cancel that. And if I can't have the bacon on the sandwich, then I'm going to just opt for the latte. I want the latte. They didn't give me the latte. They gave me the black coffee with 2 sugars, which is acceptable and I will drink it. But it's not what I ordered. I feel like that's the whole video. I'm just kidding. So I actually wanted to come on and talk to you guys a little bit today about just some things that I've been noticing. Recently, I feel like there's been a lot of like repeating energies coming up. Like I've been thinking about my past relationship quite a bit, and it's had me kind of like psychoanalyzing myself. I'm like, okay, which part of me is in this state and which part of me is in this state? And it was kind of funny. Last night I was settling into bed and I was kind of just like, I'm done with this. And I had very distinct parts of myself show up. So if you're familiar with like internal family systems, or if you're working with like the shadow versus the ego, that can apply here. But there was one very specific part of me that chose to be like sarcastic about my feelings, and I laughed and I was like, actually that helps, thank you so much, that helps me move through the energy. But then maybe not even 5-10 minutes later, there was another part of me that felt very much resonant with like my 6-year-old. And she came up and she was just like, I'm actually really upset about this. And she kind of like lost it. And I was like, oh, sweetheart. And then another, like my maternal part stepped forward and was like, I got this. Let me tuck her cozy into bed and I'll sit here and I'll rub her back and I'll make sure she falls asleep. And I was just like, oh, thank you so much. Like for one, I didn't have to consciously do that. And that's because I've been in this cycle of healing for so long that it's become habitual. And so I got to observe these things happening without so much interfering. I was like, okay, which part of me is stepping up to like take care of this one? And my maternal side was like, I got it, I'm here. And they just took care of it. And so I think that's really cool to kind of witness these distinct parts of yourself. And that was a huge thing within my journey. I wanted more self-connection. I wanted to feel connected to myself, because being a people pleaser, having anxiety, having probably undiagnosed autism and ADHD, my entire life was masking, trying to fit in, trying to please these people. And so when you strip away all of those things, you begin unmasking, you begin healing, you get in touch with your authentic self. It's like, cool, now I'm self-connected and I don't know what to do with myself. But then after you get kind of through that hurdle, it's like, okay, maybe, I'm feeling a little disconnected from myself, but I still got myself. I still trust myself. I still rely on myself. I've built up that trust over time. And so now when I'm going through heavy emotional healing or cycles, observing these things, I get to sit back and just kind of let it play out. And yes, I intervene. And yes, I'll be like chat GPTing and trying to like get to the root cause, which I've found really helpful, because ChatGPT has been like reflecting back to me my own thoughts and beliefs. But it's nice to hear it or read it in bullet point form just to have those reminders. And so I'll be like, hey, I'm kind of struggling with this. What do you think? And ChatGPT will be like, that's an interesting perception. We could dig into this area, but there's also this to consider. And I'm like, you're right. Thank you so much for like organizing my thoughts for me. I'm only recently using ChatGPT, and it's been an interesting adventure. One thing I have noticed, like I took some of my old like teachings from some workshops that I had done previously, and I'm attempting to turn those into an ebook. So I threw in the transcript and just got like a good base that I can go in and re-edit in my own voice. But now when I start talking about certain things, ChatGPT will remind me of things that I had already spoken about in my spiritual teachings. And they'll be like, well, since you're such a spiritual alchemist, how can you alchemize this? And I'm like, whoa. So I think that's really interesting. If you are a spiritual teacher, or if you have some kind of like, honestly, this could probably even work with your journal, or just like uploading kind of like your belief systems. I think ChatGPT has done a really interesting job of seeing the broad picture of my beliefs without me saying, I believe XYZ. It's intriguing. I'm fascinated. But just get real vulnerable with you guys, because I think that's what coffee chat should be. Just me being vulnerable. I'm in the parking lot for an interview about a job that I'm not really excited about. I don't really care to do, but it would be like steady income. Ideally, I'm looking for something part-time that can just have like a baseline security, and then I can do my business on top of that, and not have to worry about like making a steady income. I can do a project and get excited, go into my book, and kind of just flow with wherever the energy leads me. But I've been sitting with these concepts of major life changes, because without like a rooted 9-to-5 type of employment, what's stopping me from living in an RV and traveling and going and seeing all of these beautiful sights? I want to see redwood trees. I want to go and see just the Pacific Northwest and all of these really like beautiful, gorgeous things. And so I've been sitting with this wild idea. A lot of times my self-sabotage, or my like escaping mechanism, when my fight or flight, my flight is my thing. And so in the past, when like these things would come up, I would literally burn all the bridges in my life and move halfway across the country. I've done this on many occasions. This is not like, it's a habit at this point. And so for the past couple of months, I've been getting that itch to move and like prepare and do something. And I'm like, I have no idea where I'm going. This time I don't necessarily have like family that I'm going to go like move in with. I don't have somebody like a partnership that I'm going to go with. It's just me and my children. And I'm like, I could go anywhere. I can do anything. And for the first time in my life, this is not me just abandoning things and running away. It's actually me taking a step into the unknown and doing something cool and exciting. Because I don't think I don't want to live here anymore. Don't tell my family that I haven't told them yet. Okay. But if I'm in an RV, I could come visit all the time, but no pressure, because I can stay for a week or two, and then I can go somewhere else. Maybe I'll find somewhere I want to settle down and plant some roots, and maybe not. It's been interesting. But so I'm about to go into this interview, and I have like zero expectations. I don't care if I get it. I don't care if I don't, kind of thing. It's technically less than I would have. It's not offering as much as I would demand from typical positions, but it seems like a very, like anybody can fill this role type of job. It'll be very low stress. I'm typically in very high stress positions in employment, and I don't want to do that anymore. So we're just doing some different stuff. Thanks for sitting with me for this. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of curious. Have you guys seen like major themes from your past coming up? What I feel like is happening energetically for the collective is the old paradigm is just like sinking its claws in, trying its hardest to hang out on. And that's what is coming up for me, is like old cycles that I've like 100% closed out, 100% healed, 100% buried in the ground. They're like, hey, you could come and entertain us again. Do you want to come back into this old cycle? Don't you remember how fun it was to know exactly what kind of trauma to expect? And so now, again, for the 50,000th time, I'm like, no, I have to love myself and choose myself, and I won't abandon myself. And that's kind of the place that I've gone to, where I'm like, okay, I'm not self-sabotaging. I see the desire, and I'm not going to do it. And in that, I'm choosing to trust myself. I'm choosing my self-authority. I'm choosing relationship with me. So let me know if you're going through the same thing, but I'll catch you later. Thanks for having coffee with me. Bye.